right. Hey, everyone. It's Robert Jones with the iNETrepreneur Network on the iNETrepreneur radio show. And I'm excited today because we are going deep today. We're going deep into a past that I know really, really well. That goes from computer programming to search engine optimization to what we have today using tools for small businesses, because it's all about technology today. I have three great friends coming on today, starting with Craig Darling, pulling through of Preston Martelly, and my new best friend, Tommy Haynes out of Florida. So we have the whole country packed and stacked, and we are going to learn with each other and for each other. You know, for a lot of you who don't know me personally, Network Together came about after my previous life as a recovering programmer. A lot of people don't know I used to work for GoDaddy. I used to work for Intuit, Realtor.com, Nuvolex, eFood Safety, Smart Marketing Technologies. And it was my job to control, the people who came through my funnels, their minds, so they would always keep coming back. So I remember so many times when I worked for Realtor.com, I'd go out. This is back in the day, guys. I would go out to the Realtor broker offices, and I actually explain what a website and what an email address was. How far have we come from those days? And then in the mid 2000s, I worked for another company, which was in the nutraceutical and pharmaceutical business. And I remember my CEO getting up and saying, "Oh my goodness, we need more sick people because we need more market share." And really, that was the day that I left that world to be in this world with the iNETrepreneur Network. But what I'm excited about is we guarantee you won't get on the list with any of these guys on some drip campaign unless you absolutely want to. But I think you just may, because these guys are a wealth of knowledge. And today, with my first guest, although I was going to play a commercial, I'm so excited about having my first guest today. I have Mr. Craig Darling of Darling Digital. Welcome, Craig.
Thank you, Robert. This is awesome. I am so looking forward to the conversation about to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And Craig, I appreciate you, so much because, one, you stand up, loud and proud in the Chandler chapter for Network Together, which really has turned into pretty much an international chapter with the people that we have coming to you there. Also, you're stand up, you come to our events, you help us out with the expo, you give us any type of Google tool advice, you do presentations. So you really have done quite a bit for the Network Together community over the last couple of years, haven't you?
Oh, it's incredible. And just right back at you, because of Network Together and the online possibilities that it presents, we've expanded into Sri Lanka and Thailand as a result of the networking online. This is amazing what you put together, Robert. I appreciate it.
And you can truly say that because of the digital age, and especially with the accessibility of the digital age right now, we truly are in an international environment. We can both do local, but we can also do global. Wouldn't you say that's correct?
That is correct. And the world is really, really small. It's the size of your keyboard, actually.
And it's getting smaller every day. I'm finding I don't even have to use a keyboard half the time. All I have to talk and say is, "Hey, Google," and guess what? My phone's lighting up trying to help me. But, before we go too far into the right now, I actually want to go to the back then a little bit. I really want to get to know a little bit about Craig Darling, because you haven't always been Craig Darling of Darling Digital. You haven't always been the Google tool expert. You were born somewhere, you went to school somewhere. Tell us a little bit about your background in some of what made you.
Well, I grew up in a little town in Southern California. I'm a surfer kid. I grew up on the beach. I did things like putting dead sharks in the wagon and taking it to school for show and tell, which was kind of frowned on, actually. But I grew up there at about the time of the upheavals in the late 60s. my parents moved us to the farm, where I had to all of a sudden learn how to milk cows and plant gardens and raise beef, etc. So it's pretty interesting. But then, like all of us, I had a regular childhood, really.
Well, I mean, I don't know if being the California boy or whatever coast boy to go into the farm is necessarily that normal, Craig. But I'm sure, I mean, for a lot of us, many of us have actually never been to a farm, let alone lived on a farm, in this generation. So tell us a little bit about maybe the work ethic that you would have, discovered by working on the farm, maybe.
Well, I really am proud of my work ethic, and I learned it from my parents. My parents were entrepreneurs in their own. My mother helped establish a company you might know as Martelly Toy Company. Brought them from a picture frame making operation in their garage to what they are today. My parents also ran a restaurant. So in addition to the farm, I had to milk cows. We had orange trees. I had to pick oranges. We had a restaurant, so I had to wash dishes and wait tables and fill in wherever I could, and still do my homework. I'm a musician, so I had to practice my piano and my baritone and my trumpet every day. So work is I have fun doing what I do. So
I'm going to jump in. You do have fun doing what you do, but one thing I really noticed here, Craig, is you took sustainable farming to the table even before it was fashionable. Well, I want to get that straight right now. I'm going to help you on that because you really did now, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you were green before you knew that there was green.
Oh yeah. This is a crazy thing. I never ate store-bought bread until I was 18 years of age.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy. But I'll tell you a secret of mine too. I was 20 years old before the first time I ever ate at McDonald's and had a Big Mac.
Wow.
20 years old. And believe me, for the longest time, I really wanted to go to, let me tell you something. I use McDonald's a lot. I always say, and Preston and I would probably talk about this maybe a little bit. I'm like, if brandy didn't work, there wouldn't be the Golden Arches and we wouldn't be eating those burgers. Believe me, there is something to brand. And for all those years, I was just getting so ready to eat that McDonald's Big Mac. I thought it was going to be the best thing. Those 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, sesame seed bun, and all that. And I remember thinking to myself, this is the biggest letdown I've ever had.
Right?
Yep. I thought, wow, I could make a burger this big. I don't know what the special sauce is, but I could definitely make this. But I know, Craig, that you'd worked in the car industry. You've done sales for the longest in time of your life, but there came a point in your life where you decided, hey, I'm going to pivot from what I've done before because I saw a need or necessity in this other area. What caused you to go from what your background was, you're really in the auto industry, to say, I'm going to go back and be my own entrepreneur again. I'm going to help small business owners and I'm going to specialize, and maybe it even wasn't early on Google Tools.
Quickly background that. In 1993, I was thrust into the internet place. I had no idea I was going to do it. It wasn't planned. My boss walked in with this giant Hewlett-Packard computer and said, "You're the internet guy. Figure it out." So we didn't have email marketing. We didn't have customer retention management systems and all that. So we had to develop it. 3 years later, I was inducted into the General Motors Hall of Fame because of the amount of automobiles we were retailing and having brought the automobile business online in a certain sense. So I spent years after that consulting with companies you call cars.com and NADA.com, kellybluebook.com, that sort of thing.
Well, and it was really interesting back then, Craig, because, it was really fun because truly in those early days, it was a technological Wild West. And and I remember myself. I used to carry the nameplate, the most annoying man in the world, because I think you and I might have talked about this. But when I used to work at Intuit, I used to create all those crazy pop-up ads that they used to be back in the day. And I remember when someone came up with the pop-up blogger, the whole world rejoiced. And I remember me and my team going out to the bar, and we were all like crying tears in our beer because we couldn't believe someone came up with a pop-up blocker. So, I always remember, if someone's happy on one side, there's probably someone sad on the other, right?
Right. So yeah, that's really crazy. You're so right. Well, in 2014, Google released Google My Business, and I was playing with it, and I discovered that I could utilize one of the various platforms that are attached to Gmail. I accidentally discovered that my content indexed to search in just a few seconds, and in fact was the #1 search result. Now, there's a lot of reasons why it came out that way, but I was intrigued. And since then, I've focused more and more on the Google My Business platform because it just offers visibility like nothing else.
And it's really interesting to me, because really Google came out with a plan, and that plan really for business to be found is still tried and true today. It really is, who knows you, the content that's relevant, and what are the quality of the people that refer back to you as an expert. And, marketing really is all based upon that type of authority, from 2014, and here we are in 2020. And, I think you and I would agree, don't tell anyone different, but, there's a lot of technologies that have come in place, and Google itself has improved a lot over the years to be more accessible for end users, business owners themselves, to become successful and more knowledgeable about how they can get their business found.
Yep, this is so true. Well, it all begins with Gmail, of course, and most people don't realize. But Gmail, every email you send on Gmail can be set to private or public. So if you have that understanding that even your Gmails could be indexed to search, it just opens up a wide world of possibilities. And it gives danger too. If you don't know what you're doing, you can easily step off the cliff.
And what's really crazy, because we see so much success with Google, don't we, Craig? I mean, Google's all around us. It's the place that we go up to our computer to find so many things. And now we can talk to it like it's our brother or sister. It seems like, whether we're in the car or whether we're at the home or whether, we talk to it on the phone, but in everything that Google's ever done has been successful, correct?
Well, not everything, but we see a lot of things that they let go by the wayside. But some of the core practices, Google's interested in customer satisfaction, and the only way they can get customer satisfaction is by delivering content to the search results. And they've spent billions developing their Google tools. Use them, and Google will put you in front of people they think are likely to do business with you.
Well, and a lot of people don't know this, and it's still true to this day. And it's still rather shocking that Google, the company Google, for the mass size of it, still employs more PhDs per capita than any other company in the world. PhDs that are constantly working on the services, constantly working on the algorithms, constantly improving themselves so they remain relevant. Because you and I both know this, Craig, technology is a very, very competitive world, and you can become obsolete almost overnight because someone comes up with an idea that's the next big thing.
Right. Yeah. It's just like your pop-up blocker.
Just like my pop-up blocker. Absolutely. I went from pop-up blocker to flip chart really quickly. But right now, part of the premise of this show is as small business owners, what we want to know is just, I always like to say threes, because I don't want to do too many, because it just goes boom,
Right.
But let's look at maybe starting with one tool, maybe getting to 3 tools. And let's talk about some of the amazing tools that Google has right now for small businesses that they can utilize to get people to find them faster and better and, create more quality with the connections that they're going to have?
Right. Well, the easiest way is to establish a Google group. Google Groups are free. The content that you put into Google Groups is indexed immediately. You don't have to have members of your group like you do in Facebook. You just have to keep putting content into the Google Groups. And every time you put content in there, it's indexed. So, like a social media post, for example. If you have a Google My Business profile with a URL and you make a Facebook post and include the URL from your website that's attached to the Google Business profile, Google will index your social media post across all of their platforms. There's nobody else that's doing that. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, and that really is, I think, something that hadn't always been there, is the immediacy of it. And I know in the day, we always had the Google bots that came out, and if you had I called it the blogging ritual, the bots would actually algorithm it to where they would start, trying to feast on the content you put out there. But what I like about the Google Groups as well is you don't actually have to have a timing matrix anymore, or metrics for it. It actually means if you miss it by an hour, or you skip a day, or you do, something that, because we're never busy, right, Craig? We're never busy. We make every appointment on time, and, when we're never sick. But you don't have to really worry about that with Google Groups.
No, it's the contact indexes immediately. And then Google Docs. Most people don't pay attention to it, but I have probably 75 or 80 landing pages that are built in Google Docs, and then they're attached to a website as a subdomain, if you will. And that indexes to search just as rapidly as posting to Google Groups. I mean, every single Google platform indexes to search, and that's the strength of utilizing the various Google tools.
And in Google Docs is really great because, even in our company, we use Google Forms, which goes into Google Docs, and you can allow and share it with other members of your team. And so you can really play an outside world game and an inside world game, and it creates an efficiency that I have never seen before.
Right. Yeah. We used to perform an SEO on our website and hope the bots would get to it in the next 30 days, even if we had a Google console and asked them to do so. Whereas if you're utilizing Google tools, it's indexed in seconds.
Yeah, it's really, really nanoseconds even.
Yeah.
And one more tool, Craig. Give us one more tool.
Oh, probably the most amazing is the Google Post. If you utilize your Google posting, Google will actually serve the Google Post up to people that their algorithms have decided are willing to do business with you or likely to do business with you. How powerful is that? Some of our Google posts get engagement in excess of 400%. What does that mean? They're being shared an average of 4 times.
Yeah, and I love that, because what it really tells me as a former internet marketer myself, what it's really doing is it means it is placing audience and message together almost immediately. And let me say that again. I don't know how many millions of dollars I've seen businesses spend to get audience and message together. That is really a key of success for any business, let alone, big business, down to small businesses. But I love what you're talking about, the tools. Now, Craig, I want to make sure that people know how to get a hold of you, and, let them know how to get a hold of you and what is the best way to get a hold of you. And certainly I want people to come to your virtual chapter as well. So let's not forget that.
Okay. Well, you can always reach me at 12:30 on Zoom for Chandler's Network Together meetings on Tuesdays. I love doing that particular little hour. But the easiest way to get a hold of me is to visit darlingdigital.us. And the very first tab you see on that is click to connect. And what that'll do is that'll schedule a 15-minute or a half-hour Zoom meeting with me. That's something else I've done. I've eliminated email contacts on all of our websites. People would rather talk, and they're over the Zoom barrier. I'm really excited about that. But click my website, darlingdigital.us, and then click to contact me. Let's talk. I look forward to engaging.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that you said that, because I believe there is nothing more powerful than conversation, because conversation starts everything from ideas to sales. It all starts with the conversation. The quicker we can get to conversations, the more successful we'll be. Well, I will say, Craig, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's always a pleasure. I mean, you'll always be a rock star in my book. So I'm glad you're here today. You didn't break out the piano or anything, but maybe we'll save it for the next show. Does sound good?
Yeah, the guitar's on the wall.
Okay, there we go. The guitar as well. Well, thank you so much, Craig.
Thank you, Robert.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
Wow, how awesome having Craig Darling of Darling Digital, Darling Companies. He's just a darling. You can't say too much more about him. So thanks, Craig. Next up, I have one of my great Canadian friends of up north, Mr. Preston Martelly. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great, buddy. How you doing?
I am doing well. I feel like if I was a kid, I'm in the candy store today. This is just like so much fun. I feel like, I have all my friends in high and low places today. So it's really, really good. I'm glad you made it, coming in from Canada on our show. I'm very grateful for that. So Preston, I'm going to do like I asked Craig. Let's go a little bit back in your background. I mean, were you born in Canada? Did your parents immigrate to Canada? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about your history.
So I don't say the A as much as a lot of Canadians do. It does keep out so often. I was born in the beautiful island of St. Lucia in the Caribbean. So I'm an island boy. And I came up to Canada at around 12, where I went to high school. And as the story goes, I met a girl, and the rest is history.
Oh man, that's how it goes, right? Yeah.
It's funny when you're telling. It's funny when you're telling the story before about the Golden Arches. Could you picture me in growing up in the Caribbean? Like, we see these arches all the time, but there's no McDonald's around. So I was pretty let down when I got up here and had my first hamburger. But trust me, I was craving for it.
Right. Well, I told you when I waited for so long to have that burger, and it was really, really tough. I grew up, there was this guy named Ronald McDonald, and I thought he was the coolest thing. He had these big red floppy shoes and the red hair, but so much about what we do is branding. It used to be just branding in companies, but right now branding is as much personal. It is, corporate, the way I look at it. And one of the things I like that what you do is, you bring branding to both the personal level and the corporate level. But I'm still going to take you back just a little bit, Preston, because I know that you didn't always own Java Logix. And tell us about, when was your pivot point? Were you always that entrepreneur at heart, or did it come from need or necessity where you said, you know what, I see I have a value that I can offer the world, that gift? What was that pivot point that made you say, this is what I love, this is what I'm going to do, and this is where I'm going to put my impact?
Yeah, you know what? It kind of, much like what Craig said before, like, you kind of fall into this at first. My background before this, I worked in the corporate world. I worked for Best Buy as a trainer. And, even though I was a trainer of technology stuff, one of the kind of passions I always had was about technology. And I was always the guy that, I remember my colleagues would always look at, I got it was BlackBerry back then, and the new rims and the new features, they'd always come to me to ask me about it. So, as things kind of evolved and I kind of moved on from that role, I went into the world of entrepreneurship, where I opened a coffee shop. I'm a barista. So
wait, I'm a barista too.
Yes, I can make a pretty awesome latte art.
That is so cool. Okay, baristas have something in common.
Yeah, there you go. So Yeah, so long story short, I got into this world of doing the coffee shop and so forth, and then obviously, as the life kind of evolves, you move into other things. Then the whole digital world started really picking up, and I wanted to do mobile apps. Actually, was where I first got into it, and I think it was back in like 2013, 2014. I started actually selling apps to local businesses, and it was kind of cool because I went out and I was representing to a lot of people. But the one thing I noticed even back then was that, and that was back in 2014, mobile apps was pretty much of an advanced technology. Like a lot of business owners, they really need to, really focus out on the basics, right? There's so much stuff out there to be able to get them to do what they want to do, which is, I always preach, you got to get your ideal customer to know, like, and trust you. So I found myself going from, presenting mobile apps and building mobile apps for people to the reality hit me one day was when a customer who had built an app for, and they were really happy when I built it, they said to me, Preston, we really love our app, but it's the customers are people saying that the app looks way better than their website. So they asked me to do a website for them. And back in 2014, I didn't know how to build a website back then, but that was just around the time when WYSIWYG started coming out. So I was able to kind of, figure it through and learn it. And I learned how to do SEO on websites, which is a very, very valuable thing.
Well, in WYSIWYG, for everyone out there that doesn't know that, it's what you see is what you get type of website building. And, I remember back in the day, Preston, where pretty much I had a notepad and I had to manually code my websites back in the day. So pretty much it was like a code frame set, and I just placed pictures in it with some font that was called text. So
man,
so far, from HTML 3.2 to 4.0 to 5.0 to CSS and everything. And these are all those crazy things. But, we live in an amazing world right now, don't we?
Totally. I mean, and even for a guy that's me, that's non-techie, I can work in a tech world right now because of technology has come so advanced in terms of what we can do right now compared to what was available before, and it's it's light years away from what it was back in 2014. So if anybody's out there who's scared of technology, just keep in mind that I run an agency now, and part of what we do is web design. And in 2014, I was panicking when somebody asked me to do a website for them.
Yeah, and the thing is it's really interesting because with technology, you have to be willing to improvise, overcome, adapt, change, make pivots, decisions. I feel like in the technology world, and Craig and Tommy would probably agree with us, COVID was like, it is catastrophic what COVID has done to people in the world. And I am never going to diminish that. I've had many friends affected by COVID. So I won't say that, but one of the things that people don't understand about our world and technology is, we've been living in constant change and flux for years in the world of technology. And, one of the things that I saw is I love that the technology community, stood up and supported all those business owners, whether it be Zoom and connecting and taking care of others. I've seen the technology community come up because we've had to live these pivots, for years, really. And I know that you've done your best to really, share out, reach out, and give out to others and help them become the success, and find their gifts as well. And that's what I appreciate about you, Preston, is you do that all the time.
Yeah, definitely. It's what we're going through right now. It's difficult for a lot of people, especially just not only the things, the direct causes of COVID, but just how we have to do life now. Like you a lot more communications online. Even if you weren't very familiar with technology, or you're very technology averse, as I should say, you've got to become, you've got to make that pivot to being online right now. So I've had to extend myself a lot, stretch myself very thin, and trying to help out as many people as possible. Just understand it. What do I need to do next? What, my gosh, I can't do face-to-face meetings anymore. How do I, how can I keep going? How can I keep living? Because if not, my business is dead. Right. Yeah. So it was it was huge.
Right. And we have had to learn how to connect and I mean connect personally through technology. And
Yeah.
I've actually had a lot of people come up to me and tell me, they said, because of the eye contact and because of the way that people use Zoom or they use Skype or they use Google Meet, there's so many ways to meet, and there's more platforms than that people are actually starting in some ways to get more courage actually in the physical personal environment, not just the digital environment. This
Right.
this pivot, this change over the last 7-8 months has really caused a lot of people to really, face fear, fall, what do they call it? Fear forward, and start to succeed with that at a much faster rate. And so I've seen a lot of people take a hold. My mom, for example, she would never get onto a Zoom call. And now she's calling me up, telling me how I need to run Zoom better. So I mean, it's amazing to see, people in your life where you thought they would never get into this new world, and they're improvising, overcoming, and adapting, and they're making the changes themselves. And I think it's just incredibly wonderful to see that. But, part of this program, of course, Preston, is just, just like Craig said, what are some tools and what are some things, small businesses need to look at to be really, really effective in this age?
Yeah, definitely. And when you were asking that question to Craig, I was expecting my answer. I wrote a couple of them down and make sure I give something of value, some of the tools that I really hold dear and dear to me. So obviously Craig talks about, Google tools. So I think the suite of Google tools are very, very helpful in terms of, identifying how you can get better visibility online. Another tool that I really love is one, it's fairly new. It's actually a Canadian company as well. It's called Funnelytics, and it's a funnel mapping tool that allows you to kind of map out that buyer journey. Because primarily what I try to teach business owners always is, what you're trying to do with your marketing is get your ideal customer to go from stranger all the way over to a raving fan. And what Funnelytics allows you to do is to map out the different web page or different touch points along that journey to take a customer all the way through. Another one is Elementor. So Elementor is a web builder, and like I said to you, I'm not a very tech person, but if you're out there and you're stuck, you need to get a web page built, or you're having one done, using a platform like Elementor makes it very, very easy to just conceptualize your ideas. I mean, there's still that challenge of the creative side of things that you gotta know what you want to put together, but at least it takes away that tech barrier for you. So that's my I'd say my second or my third tool. So Google Suite, definitely Funnelytics is one you should check out, and then the third one I would say is Elementor.
Well, I mean, and on the websites yourself, I'll let you do this, but you've converted me, in tools as well. I mean, I've been a longtime user of I'm a former Marine. I mean, Yoast is it, but you got me into a whole different analytics for WordPress websites yourself. Maybe you want to let that one out? That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So two things, like definitely if you have a WordPress website, to connect your WordPress website to the suite of Google products is using Sitekit. Which is a Google product, and my go-to SEO plugin now is Rank Math. Right? I find it's very intuitive. It does everything that you need to get done, and for a free software out there, it does wonders on your overall website performance.
Yeah, and it's a very, very clean and responsive interface, which and that's what I mean. There are so many new technologies, so many plugins, so many people adding to the WordPress code base from around the world. I mean, it really behooves any developer, any small business owner who's doing it for themselves to always consistently, get in there and search for tools that you're even currently using, because at any given time, a new tool will come onto the market and it offers more for less time, creating more efficiencies, and it creates more effectiveness in what your business model should and is. Wouldn't you say, Preston?
Most definitely. So stay current. Don't be afraid to jump into the market. Do a bit of research to find out what your passion is, what's your medium for communication. But it's never too late to feel saturated. I mean, even platforms like YouTube that you think has been around for so long in terms of being available, but they always innovating. There's a new way of marketing through YouTube called YouTube Shorts, right? This is like, it's brand new to the market, brand new to me. So if you're looking to get out there, here's another platform that's going to be brand new with lots and lots of traffic.
Yeah, and and again, here's the other thing too. YouTube and the channel there, just like with WordPress, one of the tools that we came up together with was TubeBuddy, and I give credit to Justin James, another partner developer that I work with as well within the iNETrepreneur network. Turned me on to TubeBuddy. I mean, there are so many tools that are changing all the time, and that's another thing. You could be working with something as large as the code base of YouTube, right? And then all of a sudden, there's another developer that comes in with some type of API. An API is something that integrates with a current tool to make it better, more user friendly and more extendability, to offer those business owners who really, most business owners don't really want to spend their time on tech all day unless they're in tech.
Right. Exactly.
They really don't. If you're a landscaper, or if you're a plumber, or if you're a life coach, or if you're an accountant, the last thing you want to do is spend 15 hours a week on your website trying to make it great. But I get it. Sometimes you have to start somewhere, and there's a lot of great tools to start out with. But for most of us, I always say, if you can't do the source, outsource. That's code. But one last thing, before I have you tell people how to get a hold of you, another thing that you do really well, Preston, is you really sit down with the client and you show them in real time, the things that you do for them. You are very social that way. And, you and I have talked about this quite a bit. And the thing is, if you don't know your business's mission, you can't create the message. And if you don't know your own message, you certainly don't want the methods to get your message out there, because it's going to destroy your mission and your message over time.
Right.
I sit down with a client and you really kind of nut and bolts them and say, look, I understand you want to double your income, or you want to triple your revenue, or you want to get more, people coming to your websites and lead generation. But, before we actually, create the tools for you to personally succeed in the, in the internet environment, we need to sit down and have a conversation. And that's one of the things that I really like that you do, Preston, with your clients. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so definitely we go through a project that we've kind of massaged, and I think we really got it honed in right now. Whenever we have a new customer who wants to work with us, what we do is we first spend some time with them identifying what is that unique product that you want to promote, right? And do you have it that you, to the point where you can articulate exactly what service you're offering and who is intended to help? Because if we don't have that, it makes everything else we do in marketing very difficult, and very often we could be running in the wrong direction. So step number one is we try to identify what is it you offer and to who. Then we narrow down to who is your ideal customer and where do we find them online, right? And then once we have what you're going to be offering and to who, we design what's called a sales funnel to move your ideal customer, to let them know about your product so that we can get them to know, like, and trust you. And then after that's done, the conversation is end with you. We take on the work now to do all the behind the scenes tech parts of it, and giving you recommendations on what platforms we should be on. We look at your competitors or other people sharing the same audience as you, and find ways for us to reverse engineer the success, right? So that you can have success faster. And then the rest is just optimized.
Like I say, I always say, if you're going to have someone, if you're going to pay someone to go out in the field and dig holes, you want the holes being dug in the right places, because the last thing you want them to do is to dig at the hole again and again and again and again. And that's why these conversations are so important, because, you want, everyone has a limited amount of time, a limited amount of money, and a limited amount of energy to do these things. And so you want to do it right the first time. And that's what I appreciate about what Craig does and what you do, Preston. So tell us a little bit about the best way of getting a hold of you. And let's see if we can get some connections here today.
All right, fantastic. So head over to my website, which is at the bottom of the screen, is javalogix.ca. So you can head right over there, and on the site, you can browse around, see the rest of our team and so forth. But one of the cool things on there is the ability for us to do a brand audit for you, right? So it's a call to action right on the homepage. So I'd encourage you to check it out. It's a 30-minute with me where we can talk about your business. There's no major obligations or anything like that. It's just really an opportunity for us to identify, what is your value proposition? What are you offering? Let's identify who your ideal customer is, and let's see together, hey, do you have a proper sales foot in place? Are you, writing the right kind of blogs? Are you putting the right kind of things on social media so that you can get the results that you want?
Absolutely. Well, Preston, thank you so much. Coming, flying into the Zoom, to the StreamYard all the way from Canada. You can't beat that. So thank you so much. And, any words for your French friends?
Bien sûr. OK, j'espère qu'on va parler bientôt.
There you go. I gotta love it. I love hearing Canadian French. Nothing like it. Thank you so much, Preston. I appreciate you, being on our show today.
Merci.
Join the 1% Club and become a #1 bestseller. 1% of entrepreneurs maximize their SEO and marketing. You are invited to become a contributing author for the guaranteed best-selling book, 365 Quotes from Networkers. Contact your show host to find out how. Join the 1% Club today.
All right. Thank you so much, Preston, for being on the show. I appreciate all your words of wisdom. Now I have Mr. Tommy Haynes. He's coming in from Florida to be on our show as well. Welcome, Tommy. How are you? Oh, we got to get the microphone on.
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing fine. I'm so glad you're with us here today. This is what I really like about being able to have these shows where we're able to connect all around the world, Florida, Canada, and Craig kind of in my backyard, I guess I could probably bicycle to him, but that's okay. The only reason why anyone would know it is because I said it.
Right.
Technology has fundamentally changed the way that we live and work, and we even raise families. I even have my kids, one of my kids, he's going through some, different issues, and he's able to get on with a therapist and have, twice a week, 1 hour of therapy sessions on Zoom. You can't beat it. It allows the connection, to maintain even when, everything else is going insane, right?
Exactly. It's so awesome how technology is bringing everyone together, especially now in this time, and where it's really hard to travel and you really can't see or do the things that you really want, but you still have that connection to all those important people, regardless of where they are in the world.
I have seen more people reconnect recently than any other time. And I can't help to say, yeah, am I stir crazy sometime having to stay in the house so much of the time? Do I want to get it back out like in the iNETrepreneur network and high five and, do the fist bumps and stuff like that with the other members? Absolutely. I really miss that. But I could only think what it would have been like, let's say 20, 30, or even 40 years ago when we didn't have the technology to really keep those connections, to and from each other. And the other thing too is, even the telephone then, it wasn't like you necessarily could have 20 or 30 people even on a Zoom call or Skype or some other technology to where, you could connect so rapidly with so many, and that's what I really think about that. But what I love, Tommy, is to me, you're like a young gun, you're your business, and you're out in Florida, we're out here in Arizona. You have no fear. You're like, I see it right now. I see Tommy Haynes, world domination with.
That's the plan.
But tell me a little bit about that. I mean, I'm sure, your background, like, where are you from? What were your parents like? And, what were some of your interests, before you started AllProWebTools?
So my parents are actually, my mom is from Puerto Rico and my father is from Miami. And I was also born in Miami as well. My father is in the Air Force, so we moved around just a little bit. And my mom is an accountant, which is probably where I get all the numbers liking from. So,
Right.
so during that time, I've always liked helping people. I'm the oldest out of all of my sisters and brothers, so I had to be the leader, even though I think my sister is probably a lot more of a leader than I am.
Like, sisters will do that. Okay. I know I had sisters myself, and they always, were the leaders, even though I was the oldest, but it's how it works in family dynamics sometimes.
Yes, it does. So I actually, we moved from Miami, we went up to Atlanta, and I graduated in Atlanta from Milton High School in Alpharetta. And during that time, after graduation, I actually came back to Florida again, to make a long story short. And as I was working down here in Florida, I learned that I really like helping people and helping them get to where they want to go. That was my passion. I really, really enjoyed trying to help people build a plan and just figure out how to get there.
Yeah, and that's what I know. For not everyone in technology is this way, but for a lot of us, we're just like, we're just old hacks that, we meet business owners, and we always look like, okay, I see what you're doing, but how can we do it better? I see what you're doing, but have you tried this tool? I see what you're doing, but let me have you trial this over here, because I think you're going to like that, because there might be this new and better way. And I think a lot of the time that's how we serve. Sometimes we're thought about as these guys that, maybe are not as sociable as really other people. We may not be the best salespeople in the world, but for the most part, I mean, we serve in our own way. And our services is just helping people, live better, fuller lives by creating things that are more efficient for them. Wouldn't you say?
I would definitely agree. And that's really why I really enjoy technology, because some of the mundane tasks, as you were speaking earlier about building websites, a lot of people don't know how to build websites. I didn't know how to build websites. Even when I went to school as a graphic designer, I learned how to build websites using Dreamweaver, the WYSIWYG from Adobe, and that's how I learned.
Yeah.
So then I was like, there has to be a way to help other people learn how to do this stuff. There's got to be a way or something to help people, maybe if they don't need a website, to do other things. So
yeah, right. And it's so crazy. I mean, our websites needed? Yes, but we live in an age where there's so many other things that you can do in the digital marketplace. It really is not just websites anymore.
Right.
I mean, you can have mobile apps now that pretty much act as websites themselves, through the phone. And I actually can see them acting as a website. So before it was websites acting like apps. Now we got apps acting like websites. It's really incredible, what I'm seeing out there. And then we have AMP type style of websites that you can use, the accelerated pages, and they just, come up. I mean, there are so many things. A lot, some people are using Facebook as their form of URL. We're able to redirect domain names to go to different landing pages. I mean, there are so many opportunities for small business owners to really get their name out there. And, many of the stuff, some cost, and there's actually a lot of no cost tools that people can use as well.
That is correct. There's a lot of free tools that you can use, or people can use, to actually get things done that they need to get done, especially with running a small business. I mean, there's a lot of things that needs to be done, and trying to do all that stuff by hand could be very, very tedious. So,
yep. So like when you sit down with you specialize in helping small businesses, discover tools. That's like really the first thing. You have to discover what their need is and then you look and say, do I have a tool that fits their need? And here's the other thing: even if you give a tool to a business owner, right, that doesn't mean they're going to use it.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's one of the biggest things. One of the biggest things. Believe me, there's a lot of shovels in my garage, and I don't use them every day. Okay, so I mean, you have to be really, really careful with the tools that you give the small business owner, because the tools are only as good as how well they're used, right?
Exactly. Yes, I completely agree. And again, that's where it comes back to being able to teach them how to actually use that tool. First is discovering what they're trying to accomplish. Then it's actually teaching them how to actually get there. So, go ahead.
And then along with that, what are like I did with Craig and Preston, what are some of the tools that you see right now that just seem to be almost like butter, almost like magic? Business owners, and they like, Tommy, man, I am so glad I work with you. I never knew about this tool, but it's really helping me elevate my business at a level that I haven't before.
Oh, great. There's actually CRMs has been really, really big. Being able to track, log, and manage all of those clients and contacts that small business owners get, using Post-it notes or paper or pen or planner, that's 2019 stuff. It's 2020 now.
It's still last year. I get it.
So CRMs has been a really, really good tool to use and to help business owners be able to capture and just log and track that information when it comes to their contacts. Another tool is just email marketing tools. Being able to distribute your message to all of your clients or maybe even new prospects all at one time. So you can reach a wide range. You can use that as newsletters or almost anything.
And it's so great with email technology, because you can really tag your audience and actually market segment really large lists in ways that we've never been able to do it before. And we've actually are able to create email marketing where almost the emails themselves are like sending out mass web pages all at once. And which also create a great backlink I guess construct for the business owner who's trying to get more credibility for their website, right?
Exactly. Yes, those emails have been so critical to a lot of the small business owners that I've worked with, that they will literally talk to me or ask me about, no, is this verbiage correct? Or can I link this together? Can I put this picture in it? Do you think this is good? Like, it has been so critical to help with their clients.
Well, and it's really crazy because it's like networking sometimes. And I hear that, networking doesn't work, and networking, is for someone else, or I'm too shy to network. Well, it may be, but it only is because you're not using networking as a tool correctly. Email is the same way. I don't get anyone signing up. I don't have any response. I'm not able to monetize my audience, et cetera. But in the same way, it's not because the email's not working. It's because the message probably isn't working in the email, or the message is going to the wrong audience, right?
Exactly. What's in your email is also very, very critical. Just like you said, you can have a great message, have a great email with a lot of pretty pictures or discount this or coupons, but if you're not sending it to the correct audience, that's falling on deaf ears.
Yeah, absolutely. What are a couple of email programs that you offer that like and trust, of course, that maybe some business owners, they may or may not know that might work for them?
Oh, awesome. Some of the email programs is actually AllProWebTools. Also,
that's it. Yep.
As well as G Suites have been also another email program that I've seen or helped some small business owners with as well.
Right. So along with CRMs and along with email marketing, what are some other tools that really can help businesses, right now get going with I always say with low cost, minimal effort, but with great impact and results.
Oh, great. Another great tool is a text message marketing tool. If you look at the research, 90% of people open their text messages. So you will know that when you send out a text message or even a mass text message, that they're more willing to open that up. So text message marketing has been a really great tool for some small business owners to not just send out a message, but also get quick responses from their clients as well.
Now with text messaging, can you actually see open rates the same way that you do with emails?
With text messages, you cannot, I believe. That's a great question. You cannot, but you can get the responses.
Yeah. I mean, I think text message marketing is really immediate because, I don't like to be inundated with text messages. So I'm always like, if I get text messages, just send me something meaningful, really.
Right.
Just send me a text message that's so meaningful, it's going to get me to move.
Exactly.
I don't want it to be like something that is very non-relevant because I feel like it's just wasting time and I might block the number. But if it's a really relevant text message, maybe it's like there's a special sale on something, or maybe there's a get it now opportunity for a limited time, or maybe you're working in a joint venture and in your partner is offering something that you don't yourself. I think text message marketing is phenomenal. Also to keep on top of mind.
Yeah.
I know one of the places out here in Arizona, a steakhouse, and every year, I get my text message that says, "Happy birthday, Robert. Buy one, get one free." And that BOGO offer always brings me and my wife to the steakhouse because we're there, So, I mean, it's immediate and the results can be phenomenal. But, other things too, is like with your business owners, you yourself have not probably been able to actually interface, in person much. Pretty much all of your time has been, through digital style calls. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Actually, before COVID, my first networking event I went to was in person, and I was very shy. I was that introvert person that there's a lot of people. I like talking to people, but I don't know.
Not that many people.
Yeah, I don't know. Then right after that is when COVID hit, and then a lot of the networking events pivoted to Zoom. And I found it very being more comfortable on Zoom. And now I'm like, if we don't do a Zoom call, this is kind of more of a phone call than anything else.
Right.
During a Zoom call.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of the other services that you offer your clients? Because I know you have a lot of boutique tools as well, which some entrepreneurs may not even know exist.
Right. Yeah. A lot of the tools that we offer are actually suggestions from small business owners. Actually, all of the tools. We started off as a web hosting company, and then over 10 years, people were like, "Hey, it'd be great if you added this, or if you had this." 10 years later.
Yeah. Absolutely. Another one is like lead generation. I mean, lead generation. I think actually. I haven't talked to Craig too much about this, but I have talked to Preston about this. But I think lead generation is one of the most misunderstood part of business technology. And it's something that if done right, it can work really, really well. But so much of the time I see it, failing miserably with some of your clients who use lead generation technologies, drip campaigns, funnels, etc. What are some of the successes that you've seen with companies that actually use it right?
I've seen great success. I've seen actually I've been working with some balloon artists, and they've been sending out email marketing and some drip campaigns to some of their clients, not even just sending coupons, but saying, "Hey, if you know someone, as a referral, this would be great," and they've had a lot of uptake, a lot of growth in their companies to the point where they had to hire more people to come and help them out because there's just been so much.
Did you say balloon artist?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to check. I love it. You know, I don't know if you know Corey yet. You've met her, but she's an amazing balloon artist herself within the iNETrepreneur network. So we'll have to get you guys together. She is just a crazy fun personality. So so Tommy, I want to thank you so much for being here on the show today. I just want to make sure I'm going to put your banner back up here. And let's see here. Where's my banner? Oh, there's the banner. There we go. Go ahead and tell people what is the best way for you to be connected with, so we can have a conversation with you.
Absolutely. The best way you can reach me is texting that number right there, the 970-612-1515, or you can reach me on any social platform, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm always open to talking, doing one-on-ones, or even just learning about your business. So you can reach me at any time. I'm always open.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, Tommy, for being here today. I scrolled your information across. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, certainly they can find me somewhere, I'm sure. Have a great day. Talk to you in a bit.
Thank you so much, Robert. Have a great day.
Wow. Thank you, everyone who came on to the show today, getting to listen to Craig Darling, Preston Martelly, and Tommy Haynes. I mean, all three guys, the one common denominator is they're here to serve. We got a lot of good input, a lot of good tools that we're going to have to go out and research. And, if we have a web developer, see if they know these tools. If not, come back and speak to Craig, Preston, or Tommy. If you don't have their information, you can certainly contact me, Robert Jones, robert@networktogether.net. I'll put you in touch with them. Each and every one of them, I know, like, and trust, and they will support you in your needs. Have a great week. Just remember, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, like us on our Facebook page, and visit networktogether.net and attend one of our 12 chapter or event meetings that we have each and every week. Goodbye, everyone.